What's up, everybody? I got some things to say about the iPhone X. There's not anything good to say about it. The iPhone has extreme flaws. And I know people are like, there's going to be some folks, no, it's not extreme. Yes, the flaws are extreme. Apple, it is showing. It is showing that the absence of Steve Jobs is affecting Apple's products. What's the only thing that's selling their products now is people are tied to their operating system, or I'm just going to say their entire ecosystem. But what Apple is doing now is basically saying they're going to force whatever they want onto the people, no matter what they whatever people want. I'm 100% certain that 95% of the people would still prefer finger touch ID. If they couldn't put the touch ID on the screen, like reports were saying, they should have never added the Face ID. That's just one thing. And another thing is what they should have had. What they should have done to give people options, if that's what they were going to do, is put Face ID and the fingerprint scanner. At least that would be a crossover point. They could have both systems to get people used to it, because it sounds like they're trying to get away from the Touch ID, which I don't think many people want. If they wanted to get rid of if they want to get more screen size, what they should have done, in my opinion, was to go ahead, keep the fingerprint, keep the chin at the bottom of the phone, if that's what they wanted to. Keep the chin at the bottom of the phone and move the chin at the top. Move it up. To me, that would have been fine. I would have had more real estate. And really, the only other thing they could have done to improve what they already had was to go ahead and include the OLED screen. Same form factor. It's people that would have went out just for the OLED screen alone, with the same form factor and the A10 chip. They wouldn't even cared about the A11, and they would have still went out in flocks and bought that phone. And then what's upsetting is when I see these sample videos of these notches. When you zoom your video out, your video is actually clipped by the notch. That just blows my mind to no end. It blows my mind to no end that they clip your image due to the notch. It's clear. It's clear to me that Steve Jobs is no longer with Apple. It is clear as day. Another problem I have with the iPhone X is the price. $1,000. OLED is not something brand spanking new, and I know Apple is good at making it seem like they invented something. And I'm already hearing reports already that the Samsung screens are brighter. So they already put a cheaper screen. Unless, and Apple will do this, unless what they did was make the phone dimmer just to sit here and sell people on better battery power. I don't put a bigger battery in and quit limiting the hardware, Wi-Fi signal, and all that, and saying, well, you're going to get more battery power. Yeah, because you don't weaken everything on the phone hardware-wise to get that battery power. How much more can you squeeze out of it? That A11 chip, of course, it's on a 10 nanometer process, but still, look, I'm not even going to get into it all. But the YouTubers have a responsibility. And I have what? I got one subscriber, my niece, maybe my wife. But the people, the big YouTubers with 5 million viewers or subscribers. I mean, you can't just go out and just tell people this is a beautiful phone. It's no flaws. I mean, that notch. It's you're talking about a company with $200 billion, and the only way they could fit that sensor, the sensor module in, was through putting a notch on the top of the phone. I mean, really, right now, Apple, the main thing that's keeping them afloat, and I do believe this, it's the operating system, and that's it. The iPhone 10 is basically a Samsung. That's basically what that phone is. Samsung makes the screens, so it literally is a Samsung. I won't say literally. They ain't got of course, the Samsung has they're not as efficient, but that's due to the software and the engineering on the hardware end. And Samsung is getting better. But Samsung don't care either. They'll just throw, to try to match Apple's power, they'll just throw in 2 additional gigs of memory. Why here $1,000 phone and Apple is only giving you 3? Really, for $1,000 phone, and I'm telling you, the reason why they only put 3 in there is to limit the life cycle of their phone. Whenever they go to iOS 15 and you have their phone, they're gonna be like, well, the only reason we can't bring you to iOS 15 is because the operating system don't support 5. You got to have at least 8 gigs of memory for it. I mean, we don't. That's the only reason they do that to the hardware, because they put you on these upgrades. I'm telling you, Apple is making a killing on these phones. I mean, we gotta do better, guys. Really. And I know that people are gonna go out and still buy that phone like crazy just because it's the top phone. But I'm telling you, when you're going out and buying that phone, you're basically telling Apple that them taking over control of your experience is totally fine, even if it hinders you. I mean, I don't mind a few gesture controls, but that phone without the home button is heavily gesture control. And I don't like doing that much with my phone. Now, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some pros out there that's going to be totally fine with it. But that's a huge phone. I got big hands. A lot of people already struggle with reachability. And reachability is not a function on those phones anymore. You're basically going to be using them with 2 hands to use them. And Apple is killing us. Another thing that's upsetting, I boot up my computer. I'm getting on there to download, get everything up to date, get ready for iOS 11, and iTunes pop up with an update. I'm like, what this update about? They no longer support apps at all on your iTunes. So when you back up your phone, and these people that are getting these 512 gigabyte devices, what you're going to run into when you get those devices is you're going to be waiting years. You're going to be waiting a long time for you to download. If you do a restore, you might as well you may as well take it to a business, or you just might as well leave your iPad there for 24 hours, and you still probably won't have all your data. and your information and your apps and all that. I'm just saying, if you got 512, you're going to probably have 200, 300 gigs of data. That's a lot of data to not be able to store locally, and you have to download from the iCloud. And the reason why I'm telling these millennials, the younger folks, the reason why Apple does this is because it's forcing people to use their iCloud service. They don't want you to store their apps. You to store your apps that you purchase locally on any device, because everything is leased now. Everything is leased. Say all these apps you spent money on, say the company went out. The company went out of business. They no longer supported updates for the app, which is totally fine. If they're not paying Apple anymore, you don't have that app anymore. If something catastrophic happened, Apple gets sued for something catastrophic, they lose $250 billion, and they have to file bankruptcy. Guess what? Every app you have on your device is no longer yours. And I know people, it's a convenience thing to lease things and stream things. I'm still a physical media person, but it's not. I mean, I know it's over with. It's pretty much a done deal. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose physical media fight. I mean, everything is going to streaming. Even though physical media has 10 times better quality. I'll have to see what they do with the Apple TV. I did order the 4K Apple TV, and the reason why I did that is because I do record a lot of 4K movies, and I do want to see that resolution on my 4K TV screen. But Apple is disappointing me. I mean, I am. It's sad because I have bought and I have sold people on Apple devices. Anybody around me, I'm like, get Apple. It's a simple operating system. Their devices are nice. The hardware is nice. They are durable most of the time. But whenever you start looking at a phone that they come out that it's not even, it's like they don't even have a person back there that's being hard on the engineers anymore. I mean, you need that. I know people always made fun of Steve Jobs because he was kind of nuts about simplicity and design, but that's what made Apple Apple. I mean, you just can't go out and just say we're gonna make this inferior phone, and I do believe when it's all said and done, the iPhone X is gonna be inferior to the iPhone 8. And the reason why I say that is because unless Apple does include a higher clock in the iPhone 10, most of the time when you have a device that has a lower resolution, it runs faster on the Apple. On the Apple. It runs faster on the lower resolution device. And the 8 Plus is only a 1080p resolution. The 10 is a higher resolution, so I'm guessing that's going to slow it down a little bit. But I could be just speculating. I mean, they might have added some additional memory or RAM to try to compensate for that speed loss. I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to look at reviews from other YouTubers. But I'm not on here to say bad things about Apple. I do want them to succeed. I want both companies to succeed. But Apple was not just a tech company. Apple is a design tech company. I mean, they pride themselves on design, and the iPhone X is just horrible. And I know people don't understand that, but it's gonna be some people that are gonna like, I love it. The notch, it look beautiful. That notch it's not symmetrical. Now, if they put a notch at the bottom, no, I'm not even gonna say that. That would be silly. But if they just needed to flatten that out, and I've seen some illustrations where they could have easily flattened that notch out and just made it straight across. The price on it. Now, just think about this. Apple Care for that phone is $199. So basically, it's $200. I get tired of the 99. The phone is only $999, which once you add tax, if you look, I'm gonna show you the math. If you get a iPhone X, you get the fast charger with the cable, you get the Apple Care, and of course you're gonna get a screen protector, and you're probably gonna get a case. You're gonna be paying for an iPhone X, and I'm gonna go ahead and say, once you get it, you're gonna want to be able to do your wireless charging. You could potentially be close to $1,600 on an iPhone X by the time you just get the basic functions that should have been included in the package. For $1,000, that phone should have included Apple Care for 2 years. It should be included for 2 years. For $1,000, the fast charger should have been included. For $1,000, and it should have included a wireless charger. For $1,000, it should have included at least 128 gigs of memory. And it starts off at 64. And I know another thing that people need to understand is Apple tries to sell you on this high efficiency or HEVC compression. That when they put that 40% up there, don't believe that you streaming videos or recording videos is going to equal to 40% savings in memory, because that's just not true. Trust me, I've done video on both. It's more it is a savings, but it's not 40%. In certain situations, it can go up to 40%. Darker, if you're shooting in dark areas, the compression is very good whenever you're shooting darker scenes, because anything in black, it doesn't need any color information, so you do get better compression in darker scenes and white scenes, because you don't need all the information. But when you have moving scenes, you're filming your kids, or you're filming a basketball game of your kids, you will be using it's going to be better. But I say the compression is nowhere near 40. I'll say it'll be around 15 to 20% better, but not 40. That's just BS. They're just trying to say, oh, you don't need this, but I guarantee you're going to need iCloud storage. I mean, you can store it locally, you can store videos locally, but it's not as easy with HEVC right now, but it will be later on, I guess, when everybody starts switching over. But I better get off of this thing. Apple is definitely feeling the hurt of not having Steve Jobs. It's clear. What they have is a lot of engineers. They have a lot of smart people, developers they have a lot of developers that help them. But what Apple really now is missing is a visionary. And right now, Elon Musk is killing all the is working on his vehicles right now. He's about the biggest visionary now. Apple has no visionary, and it's showing. It's showing 100%. Um, Apple TV, the Apple TV device, the only thing they can do is add 4K. That's it. They can't make for $200. Really, that thing should have had 4 gigs of memory. Um, it should have had the A11. Honestly, it should have just had the A11 processor, and that way it'll have been more for gaming. You can do a little bit more gaming, a little bit better gaming output. Um, the iPhone X should have came with 4 gigs. It should have came with ProMotion. There's no way I would buy a phone now after using my iPad Pro with ProMotion without it. It just makes no sense that they didn't include that on all their new iPhone devices. It's already built into the A11 chip, the capability. That it just needs to be it should have been enabled. As simple as that. I mean, just things like that. And what they're gonna come out with ProMotion, but this is just what they do. They make these small incremental upgrades, and then you have all these people that switches from Apple over to Samsung, and they just like, we're just gonna keep on moving, raise the price. That's the only game they have, is to raise the price on stuff. No innovation no more. It's just raise the price. And I know people, they're gonna sell people on this infrared technology. But infrared been out for decades, people. It's nothing. It ain't nothing new. You have a supercomputer that can track your face. I mean, the only thing that was lacking years ago when they had infrared is they didn't have a supercomputer that could see, and 3D cameras that can see your face, and look at your image. The control. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just so frustrated. Apple they're going downhill. I'm out. People, don't fall for this iPhone X, really. I mean, if you're gonna buy it because if you're a loyalist, I'm pretty sure you're gonna buy it regardless. But the iPhone 8 and the 8 Plus is good enough. You still got your Touch ID. You still have the A11 chip. You're still gonna be able to run iOS 11 flawlessly. Just for once, try to stand up to Apple and tell them that you don't want the Touch ID. Yeah, I mean, or the Face ID. Tell them you want Touch ID. If they want to include the infrared sensors and all that for the emoji technology, and the Face ID for sign in with Touch ID, that's fine. But don't act like you have to use it. And I'm telling you, I haven't even used the phone yet, and I'm telling you, it's going to be more steps for you to. It's so much easier to hit a button and go home. It's just so much easier. Gestures, you're doing more motion with your thumb, sliding your thumb up, rather than pushing a button. And I know that's going to seem simple, but I'm telling you, it's simpler just to hit a home button and go back home if you're having issues. And what is simplicity if it complicates your experience? Really, what good is simplicity if it complicates your experience? don't forget, Johnny Ive was all about simplicity and having all this stuff where it just worked simple. You know, just everything simply worked. And now with the iPhone 10, it's heavily gesture controls. Heavily. I don't know. I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna change any minds. But don't fall for the iPhone 10, people. That's all I want you to do. Just don't fall for the hype. Just don't fall for the Apple hype, and don't take this video as I'm some type of Apple hater. Cause every device I have is Apple, except for my laptop. I'm still a PC person when it comes to my laptop. But as far as my phone, iPad, my wife's stuff, all her stuff is iPad and iPhone. We like the OS. We got Apple Music. We use Apple stuff. It's just the fact that it's slowly declining, and I'm noticing that decline. And it seemed like it happened whenever Steve Jobs passed. I mean, that's what seemed like what set things into motion. That the slow decline of Apple. I just don't. It's just so much stuff that why can I not store a image of my phone locally at my house? Honestly, ask yourself that. Why can't you store a backup image of your phone at your home and your iPad? Why you can't do a backup image at home on your and I know it's gonna be some smart people. All you gotta do. It was simple at first, and now you get on iTunes and they tell you you no longer can put your apps on iTunes to back up your devices. And device memory is huge now. We're not talking about 8 gigs phones anymore. We're not talking about 16 gigs. We're talking about 64, 128, 256, and 512 now. So it only makes sense for Apple to have some type of avenue for you to store your information and a complete backup to your device locally at home. If that person want to use iCloud, that's perfectly fine. But if I want to have a complete image backup of my phone at home, I should be able to. That way, when I get home and I got my new phone, I can hook onto my wireless or Wi-Fi and download from a local drive the image of the phone, complete image, all my videos, all my apps, the same way that it used to be in iTunes. I'm gonna get off, guys. I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk, and I'm pretty sure y'all haven't. Most of the people I lost probably 10 minutes into the video. But don't fall for the hype. All right, peace.